Hi, I'm Panda Hershey with Your Full Expression. Welcome to the June 21st Coffee and Charts call. Happy solstice, and we definitely had some technical difficulties today. But the main idea is that the Jupiter and Venus portals are now open, and the key to making the most of this summer is showing up consistently so that you can grow and cultivate the tools you need that will help you get those ideas that you've been holding on to for almost a year now into full blossoming starting in July of 2024. I also point out that June 30th might be an especially busy day because that's the day that the Mercury crosses over the sun at 9 degrees of Cancer. And if you can keep that day relatively free now, you will allow space for any sudden plans to be dealt with, and you might appreciate that later. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the other side. It's busy. It's just busy, and when I look at what's going on, I wouldn't say it has matched the feeling of summer camp yet, but going to summer camp for the first time isn't always a fun thing. Sometimes you are like, I have no idea what I'm getting into. Am I ready for this? When I took my younger daughter, Emma, to camp, dropped her off for the bus the very first time, she was 12 years old, between 6th and 7th grade. She had plenty of overnights with her friends, but this was the first time going away with nobody she knew. And she cried when we dropped her off. And there was no way for her to get in touch with us. She could write letters. We could write letters, but there was no internet, nothing. In fact, I don't think she had a cell phone. So that was fine. But boy, it was so hard. And yet she showed up at that place for a month every day. And by the time she came home, she was a changed person. She grew so much. She learned how to sail. She learned how to climb a tree really, really high. She learned so many things that serve her today. And yet she would not have chosen exactly to do it in the moment when she got onto that bus and was the full recognition of what was about to happen, like totally hit her. And I have to say that that is personally what I'm going through right now. And I feel like I'm past the point of crying. And so, wow, if summer camp doesn't feel fun yet, it might be because it comes later in the summer. It might be because only when it's all over are you going to realize, wow, that was totally what I was supposed to get out of this experience. It's something that you appreciate in retrospect rather than in the moment. And sometimes that's how growth comes. But I can assure you that your efforts are going to be appreciated, that you have something to offer that others need around you, that if you can admit it to yourself that you have a gift to give, and that acknowledge that in yourself. You are so talented, have so much to share with the world. And so, but mostly do it for yourself. Because you're good at it. It's easy. It may not be fun. Those two things don't always go together. And so that's kind of where we're at these days. It feels like just, it's such a football term, block and tackle kind of energy where things just come up. You're like, I'm here and I'm doing it and I'm moving through it. And so I feel like that's kind of the next 2 weeks, because these last 2 weeks have definitely been a transition period of being in the space of whatever the first 5 months, 5.5 months of 2023 have been. There is a shift now to like still having to deal with all that stuff in the background, but knowing that right now it's something different and it will serve the bigger picture of taking your life to the next level. And so let's get started. I'm going to share my screen if I can find my little, where is it? Sorry, there it is. Okay. Okay. Thanks for joining. Here we go. So where are we right now? Here is Mercury right here in Gemini. Notice that it's about, I think it says 18 degrees. So it is moving through that Mars portal still. And you can see the sun here now in Cancer, because it's the solstice, has moved through Gemini already. And Mercury is catching up to it. And this is the reflection on what we've done for the first 2 weeks of June. So it's almost like we were doing things with our minds, intentionally being there to notice things. And now that that's over, it's thinking about, okay, what did I just do? Where was I putting my brain to notice the details, and what do I take away from that? Do I have clarity on, okay, these big ideas that I started the year with and now can see what I'm going to be doing and coming up with, like, what do I need to grow? How do I need to improve myself? Work on, grow some tools, some resources, so that when this blossoms in July of 2024, I'm skilled enough to like make that actually happen. And that is sort of like for the next few days, you'll keep getting this clarity of what needs to be done and where you need to keep showing up. The other thing that's going on right now is that over here, I believe we can see Venus, Mars, and the moon. So wherever you see the moon, like tonight, that just know any bright stars you see up there or star looking type things are probably Venus and Mars. Kind of cool. But they're all there in Leo, and the moon is about to cross over these. Now, notice that Mars is further along in Leo, and it's in this Venus portal of 12 to 28.5 degrees of Leo. And so it's like pushing the door open to say, look, I have something to offer. I have talents that I want to showcase. And because Venus is behind it, the receiving of it, the acknowledgement of it is lagging. So if you are offering your gifts and you feel like no one is seeing you or paying attention, or it feels like, gosh, this is taking a long time to get any acknowledgement of what I'm like offering here, this is kind of why that is. And Mars will keep moving forward, but Venus is going to keep going back and forth here in Leo into October. So for 4 months, we will get this, I don't know, I hope it's confidence building, but this acknowledgement inside ourselves and hopefully externally to know that we've got things that we're able to do as that is easy for us. And so that's kind of where we're at right now, is that Mercury is catching up to the sun and will cross over the next 2 weeks. And we've got these two energies over here. And in the meantime, all these things are still happening, but because these are separated and they're more day to day and we have to do them, They're more in the background. Okay, so let's keep going. There's not as much that happens over the next 2 weeks, you'll see. On the 24th, so in 3 days, Mercury leaves that Mars portal at 25.5. So again, this is kind of that ripple effect of, all right, what is the clarity I have about these huge ideas of where I want to be in a year from now, and making a note of that and having them almost as our goals for the next year. On the 30th, Mercury crosses over the sun at 9 degrees of Cancer. So as you guys hear from me every time, this is a moment where it's quite busy because our thinking and our doing are exactly like in the same place. And I apologize. I'm just going to have to do this one thing. Missed it. Okay, that's the way it goes. And then Neptune also stations retrograde at 27.5 degrees of Pisces. So that community that has been coming around you, that understands what you're going through at a very deep level, it's a time to think back of who has shown up for you over the last 5.5 months, right? Who really gets it? And just that appreciation of them. With no effort, they magically appeared in your lives and offered their humanity, offered their understanding, and perhaps you've done the same for others. On July 2nd, Venus and Mars are 3.5 degrees apart, and that is the closest they get at this point until next February, when they will be together in Aquarius and Venus will actually cross over. So what this separation of Venus and Mars will feel like is, I'm going to keep pushing ahead. I'm going to keep blasting down those doors, and I may not get the acknowledgement that I'm looking for fully, right? They never come together. Possibly in 6 months from now, it'll be like, okay, I'm going to show you guys, just keep like looking at what I'm trying to do here. And in 6 months, I swear to God, you guys are going to see how I've like broken through my barriers, and not quite that, but like up-leveled myself. And that's what we can all be aiming for. But it's going to take some time and some patience and just belief in ourselves to keep going. Oop, and we meet again on the 5th. So as I said in the beginning of the call, very much block and tackle kind of energy. There's some stuff going on like underneath the surface with all of the bigger planets. You know, the Jupiter portal is open. So you are probably in the place now where you've decided you're going to show up and apply yourself and keep cultivating those tools. So let's get back. And I realize I said we we're going to be on time, and because I didn't get this technology set up, it's gonna be a little late. So things to watch. It's always fun to watch Mercury and the sun like come together, and for Mercury to cross over. And then you'll be able to barely see Venus and Mars like come together. And then over time, especially the next time, you'll see them separate apart. Okay, here we go. Okay. All right. So When we turn to our playbooks or retrograde portal guide, this is that Mars portal, that Mars in Gemini, that we put our hearts into the details and all these great ideas way back in September. So if it feels like, oh my God, this is taking forever for these ideas to come to fruition, this is part of why it's happening. That you've made some progress, you've taken some steps, but boy, it will expand into its fullness starting next July when Jupiter's back and forth, its portal will be in this same area in Gemini. And so now we acted, I'm going to hopefully get that thing out of the way. Sorry, because it's blocking it now. So from May 29th to June 16th, what was I doing? Where was I using my mind to pay attention to the ideas I had and maybe trying some out? And now from the 15th to the 24th, as Mercury is finishing up, passing through that same area of the sky, what do I think about that? How have I refined my ideas, and what am I going to do about it? The Venus portal opened a couple days ago. You can look in your guide to see where this is happening. I'm so sorry about that, blocking it. In this particular example, which is mine, this is in the 4th and 5th areas of my life, my safe havens, what is fun or easy for me. And now that it's open, how am I starting to receive? Are any of us receiving that acknowledgement of what we have to offer? And as Mars moves through that area of the sky first, from June 10th to July 7th, how are we standing up for and committing to the gifts we have to offer? It's more about us believing in ourselves and being a little more patient about the acknowledgement externally. The Neptune portal, where are people showing up for us in our lives? For me, this is up here in the 12th area where I share experiences with others. Hopefully I'm showing up for others in that way. And we all can see that, hopefully, in our own charts, in our own playbooks. Something to think about of how you deepen your feelings of being human and recognizing others that are like you and can offer shared experience. So looking ahead to what will be blossoming in 2024, this is that kind of last bit of looking at this Gemini energy of all these ideas where you were putting your heart into it for 6 months and how you started the year. And now that you know that, what growth is required now, between now and next March, so you can be ready to blossom? What tools need to be cultivated? How can you show up consistently? Because that's kind of the key. That's Taurus energy, is just being very, very consistent. And that will allow you to break through the barriers that have been holding you back if you keep showing up consistently. And so the way to do this is follow your motivation, follow the appreciation of your talents. You're going to start seeing some of that appear now that the portal is open. Remember, it won't exactly match where your commitment is, but as long as you're getting that encouragement, then you know you're in the right place. If you listen to yourself and you feel, okay, this feels good, even if no one else can see it, I'm having fun, or this is easy for me, then you know you're in the right place. And so again, the story of between now until July 7th, Mars will move through that portal, paying attention to inside you, what talents, what gifts are you committing to, and feeling confident about, and just having patience with the people around you to actually get that acknowledgement. 3 more days of Mercury going through that Mars portal and giving you some clarity to refine your ideas and know what you need to do to make this all happen. Neptune stationing retrograde on the 30th, and just noticing the depth of community around you, and also sharing that with others who are looking for your experience to help them and support them. And then on the 30th, also Mercury crossing over the sun here in Cancer, wherever that is in your chart. That may be a busy, busy day, especially if you have something at 9 degrees. So I always caution or advise or offer up that giving some space that day, trying not to overschedule to allow for things to happen that day can be helpful. But if you're already scheduled up, then that's what you'll be doing. And you know how you'll be busy. And then on the 2nd, that's the closest that Venus and Mars get together, 3.5 degrees apart. And so tips for thriving: refine those grand ideas you have based on the actions that you took over the first 2 weeks of June. Pick your spot to show up consistently over the next 2 months, especially, and you'll be growing the tools you need. This is that Jupiter portal. And as I talked about earlier, remember that growth isn't always fun in the beginning, but once you get into that groove, I think we'll start to see it. And that's where that Venus energy of encouragement and acknowledgement of what you have to offer comes in. And then on July 2nd, no, it's June 30th, be prepared for a busy day of listening to and acting on your instincts. That's what I think of as Cancer. It's so bright out that you almost have to close your eyes and listen deep inside. So that is it. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because that is just driving me bonkers, and see if there are any questions or any thoughts on whether this feels like how things are going for people. All right. Well, based on that,
there's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. Yep. Block and tackle, and just keep showing up. Find that, I'll call it fun, but what feels easy, even if it isn't fun. And that's how you'll know that you're in the right spot. Okay. You guys, thank you so much. And I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Okay. Lori, you have anything you want to add to feel?
It feels right, you know. Yeah, it's gonna be busy, but it's good though. You know, it's nice to have projects, and you know, I'm gonna make sure I have nothing on the 30th, and you know, as best we can.
Right.
And then yeah, we keep going, you know. And I just want to say I'm very happy that we're all of us still, you know, together and supporting each other, and we're very lucky to have that. So thank you for all of that.
Thank you.
We're very fortunate. So, you know,
have each other. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. Very, very fortunate.
Okay.
All right, deep breath,
you guys.
everybody. It's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah. Can't wait. See you guys in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye, loves. Be good. Bye.
I hope you feel prepared to move through these next 2 weeks. The key is some patience and a lot of consistency, and we will all make it through. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.